Drunk billionaire confesses love to boyfriend. Wakes up horrified. It was black security guard. Now he won't let her forget. Brielle Montgomery's 32nd birthday should have been perfect. Her Seattle penthouse overlooked Elliott Bay. Her medical device company had just secured Series D funding, and her boyfriend Ashton Kellerman looked flawless in his tailored suit. Yet something felt hollow as she watched him scroll through his phone during breakfast. "The Cartier or Tiffany?" Ashton asked, holding up jewelry boxes without looking up. "Either works," Brielle replied, signing quarterly reports. Montgomery Medical Devices had revolutionized surgical robotics. Forbes called her Seattle's tech queen. She'd made her first million at 25. Ashton fastened the bracelet absently. "Dinner at Canlis tonight. The Harrisons will be there." Everything was networking. Every conversation calculated. Brielle couldn't remember when Ashton last asked how she actually felt. Her assistant Jordan arrived with espresso. "Birthday dinner confirmed. Also, building management mentioned the new overnight security supervisor starts today." Brielle barely heard. Security was invisible infrastructure. People she never noticed. By evening, Canlis buzzed with Seattle's elite. Her friends Madison, Sloan, and Paxton toasted champagne. "To Brielle, the woman who has everything." The champagne flowed endlessly. Ashton stayed glued to his phone between courses. "You're not even present," Brielle said, slightly slurred. "I'm here, aren't I?" He didn't look up. Something cracked inside her. Was this it? This empty performance? By midnight, Brielle could barely stand. Friends poured her into a rideshare. "Get her home safe," Madison instructed, like ordering delivery. The car stopped at her building. Brielle stumbled out, missed the lobby entrance, wandered into the parking garage instead. The world spun beautifully. Then she saw him. Tall, broad-shouldered, standing by the security desk. Through champagne-blurred vision, she saw Ashton's build. "Ashton!" she called, lurching forward. "I need to tell you something." The man turned. Definitely not Ashton. But her champagne courage was committed. She threw her arms around him. "I love you so much," she slurred against his chest. "I never tell you enough. You're everything to me. Why don't we talk anymore?" The man gently extracted himself, his voice kind. "Ma'am, I think you're confused. Let me help you to the elevator." "No, listen," Brielle insisted, gripping his uniform. "You're always working. I miss you. I miss us." "Ms. Montgomery?" he said patiently, reading her building key. "I'm Darius, security. Let's get you home safely." He guided her to the elevator, pressed her floor number, made sure the doors closed. Professional. Kind. Nothing like the man she thought he was. Brielle woke the next morning with a headache and fragmented memories that couldn't be real. "Hello, the shade. Of Love Family. So happy you're here. Before we jump into the next part of the story, tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments. Also, how's the story been so far? We love reading your thoughts. Yes, every single comment. And it really keeps us motivated. Let's aim for 50 comments on this video. Think we can hit it? Your support means the world, so don't forget to comment, share, and keep the energy flowing. Brielle woke to divine punishment. Mascara stained her silk pillowcases. Her phone showed 14 missed calls from Ashton and a cryptic text from Madison. "You okay? Driver said you never made it inside?" Memory fragments returned. The garage. A man. She'd said something. What had she said? Her doorbell rang. Ashton stood there with Starbucks, looking annoyed. "You didn't answer all night." "Just really drunk, sorry. Jordan's downstairs, says there's a situation." He left without pressing further. Jordan appeared with her tablet, face pale. Building management sent security footage. You need to see this. The video played. Brielle watched herself approach a black man in a security uniform, throw her arms around him, press against him while confessing love. The audio was muffled but clear. I love you. You're everything to me. The man, name tag read D. Webb, had been nothing but professional. Patient, kind, never taking advantage. Who is he? Brielle whispered, mortified. Darius Webb, new head of overnight security, former Army Ranger. Jordan hesitated. This could be bad. If he goes to press, why would he? But Brielle's mind raced through headlines. CEO harasses black security guard. I need to handle this. Get his contact information. He declined, Jordan interrupted. Management offered to relocate him with a raise. He said no. Said you don't owe him anything except an apology when you're sober. That stopped Brielle cold. He wants to talk? Tonight, 11 to 7. After Jordan left, Brielle called her mother, Patricia. Mother, hypothetically, if someone made a mistake involving staff... Staff? Patricia's voice dripped disdain. Darling, write a check and move on. These people understand their place. They're accustomed to wealthy clients behaving badly. These people? Something uncomfortable stirred. Security guards, maintenance workers. Just be gracious. It'll disappear. Brielle hung up feeling worse. She texted Ashton. Can we talk? 2 hours later. Swamped today? Weekend? He couldn't spare an hour. Meanwhile, a stranger had shown her more kindness drunk than her boyfriend managed sober. Her friend Sloane called. Madison told me, let me connect you with my lawyer. NDA $75,000 settlement. Problem solved. He didn't do anything wrong. I did. Exactly why you need protection. These situations spiral, trust me. But everything about that felt wrong. Darius hadn't asked for money. Just an apology. Like she was human, not a problem. Brielle stared at her reflection. When had she become someone who saw people as problems to solve with money? Brielle spent the day catastrophizing. By 11:20 p.m., she rode the elevator to the parking garage, heart pounding. Darius Webb stood at the security desk reviewing monitors. Tall, maybe 6'4", military posture. When he saw her, his expression stayed neutral. Ms. Montgomery, feeling better? I'm so sorry, Brielle blurted. Last night was inappropriate. I was drunk and you were professional and I'm mortified. Apology accepted. Anything else? His calm threw her off. That's it? You're not angry. Should I be? You were drunk, mistook me for someone else, didn't hurt anyone. You're punishing yourself enough already. My assistant said you wanted to talk. Wanted to make sure you got home okay. Also wanted to return this. He held out her phone. You dropped it. She took it, stunned. You could have left it at the desk. Could have, but then you might have sent lawyers or checks. Seemed better to be human about it. Something in his tone made her defensive. I wasn't going to send lawyers. Your assistant already tried relocating me. Your friend Sloane left messages about NDAs. His voice stayed mild. So, yeah, you kind of were. I didn't ask them to, didn't stop them either. He shrugged. Look, I get it. You're embarrassed, got a reputation to protect. But I'm not interested in your money. I just work here. You live here. We're good. His dismissal felt worse than anger. Can I buy you coffee? Proper apology? Darius studied her. Why? Because I feel terrible. Or because you want to feel less terrible. There's a difference. Before she could respond, Mrs. Yamamoto approached with shopping bags. Darius, could you help? Of course, Mrs. Yamamoto. His demeanor shifted. Warm. Engaged. He helped her. Made conversation about her grandchildren. Brielle watched, feeling invisible. When he returned, she was still there. "You're still here," he observed. "You were different with her. She's polite, remembers my name, asks about my son." No accusation, just fact. "You've lived here 18 months. Tonight's the first time you've said more than thank you. And that was because you thought I was your boyfriend." "I didn't know you had a son." "Why would you? I'm just the guy who watches cameras." "I'm not usually like this," Brielle said quietly. "Like what?" "Self-absorbed, oblivious." Darius laughed shortly. "Ms. Montgomery, you're exactly like this. Not an insult. Just what happens when you've never had to notice people like me." Darius's words haunted Brielle. "You're exactly like this." Was she really that oblivious? 3 days later, leaving for a run, she found Darius helping elderly Mr. Patterson change a flat tire. Both men laughed, hands greasy. "Try it now," Darius called. The engine started. Mr. Patterson clapped his shoulder. "You're a lifesaver. My nephew said this car wasn't worth fixing." "Cars like this just need care," Darius replied, wiping his hands. Brielle approached. "That was kind." Darius looked surprised to see her. "Just helping. Not in your job description." Neither was making sure drunk women got home safe, but here we are. His grin was teasing. After Mr. Patterson left, Brielle lingered. "You were Army?" "Army Ranger, 12 years, Iraq, Afghanistan." "I know. Jordan mentioned it after the incident." "After you drunkenly professed love thinking I was your boyfriend?" His tone was playful. "We can say it." Brielle laughed. "I really am sorry." "You've apologized 4 times. We're good." He studied her. "Why do you keep coming down here?" "Maybe because you're the first person who doesn't just tell me what I want to hear." "What does your boyfriend think about that?" The question hit hard. "Ashton thinks I worry about things that don't matter." "And I'm one of those things?" Darius asked quietly. "No." Too quick, too defensive. "He doesn't know I've been talking to you. He's busy with work." "Uh-huh." His expression said everything. "For what it's worth, any man too busy for you is an idiot." Something warm bloomed in her chest. "You don't know me." "I know you threw yourself at a stranger desperate to tell someone you loved them. I know you've apologized 5 ways when once would have worked. I know you're standing here instead of running. So, yeah, I know some things." Her phone rang. Ashton. "Hey. Need to postpone dinner. Major deal closing. Next week?" He hung up before she could respond. She stood there, something cracking. Darius watched quietly. "He canceled," she said. "I gathered." Darius hesitated. "Can I say something not my place?" "Go ahead." "The guy you described that night? The one you loved so much? He doesn't exist, because nobody who loves someone makes them feel like an afterthought." Tears pricked her eyes. "That's not fair." "No, it's not, but it's true." He picked up his jacket. "My shift's ending. But if you want honest answers instead of comfortable lies, I'm usually here." He left her standing alone, everything suddenly uncertain. Darius's words followed Brielle everywhere. Nobody who loves someone makes them feel like an afterthought. Was that what she'd become? She started noticing patterns. How Ashton answered calls during dates. How he'd canceled more plans than kept. How his affection felt performative. Her mother noticed at brunch. "Darling, you look troubled. Is the company having issues?" "Work's fine. It's..." Brielle hesitated. "Do you think Ashton really loves me?" Patricia's eyebrows rose. "What a peculiar question. Of course. You're beautiful, successful, excellent family. What's not to love? That's not the same as loving someone. Don't be dramatic. Love is a choice, not a feeling. Ashton chose you. He shows up. That's what matters." He barely shows up anymore. You're both busy. That's life with ambitious people. Patricia's tone turned pointed. Unless you're comparing him to someone else? Brielle thought of Darius, his directness, his kindness, how he'd called her out without cruelty. No, just thinking. Dangerous pastime. Thinking leads to questioning, questioning to chaos. You have a wonderful life. Don't sabotage it. But the doubt was growing. That night, Brielle found herself back at the garage at 11. Darius looked unsurprised. Couldn't sleep? Something like that? She sat across from him. Tell me about your son. His face transformed with a smile. Elijah, 9 years old, obsessed with space, hates vegetables, thinks I'm hilarious. Where's his mom? Denver. Divorced when Elijah was 3. Shanice got a NASA contractor job. We share custody summers and holidays. He showed his phone, a boy with a gap-toothed grin. He's my world. Something twisted in Brielle's chest. You're a good father. I try. My dad wasn't around much. Military kept him gone. I promised to do better. He pocketed his phone. What about you? Want kids? I don't know. Ashton says we'll discuss it eventually, which means never. What do you actually want? The simple question hit hard. She hadn't asked herself in years. I don't know anymore. My grandmother said, if you don't know what you want, you know what you don't want. Start there. Brielle looked at him. Really looked. Saw crow's feet from smiling, a faded scar, careful hands. He was real in ways nothing in her life felt. I don't want to feel invisible, she said quietly. Don't want to be an afterthought. Don't want to wake up at 50 realizing I built a perfect life that makes me miserable. Then don't, Darius said simply. It's not that simple. It never is. But staying in something killing you isn't complicated. It's just sad. His honesty should have offended her. Instead, it felt like relief. Hello, the Shade of Love family. So happy you're here. Before we jump into the next part of the story, tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments. Also, how's the story been so far? We love reading your thoughts. Yes, every single comment. And it really keeps us motivated. Let's aim for 50 comments on this video. Think we can hit it? Your support means the world. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep the energy flowing. Brielle started spending time in places she'd never noticed. The garage during Darius's shifts, the maintenance areas, the late-night diner where he took breaks. Her friends found it bizarre. Ashton barely noticed. One evening, she found Darius crouched beside a crying woman on the concrete. Rosa, a cleaning staff member, explained, her son's in the ER. No car, no money for taxi. Without hesitation, Darius pulled out his wallet, handed her cash. Take my car. Blue Honda, spot 17. Bring it back whenever. Just get to your boy. I can't. Yes, you can. Family first. Always. He pressed keys into her hand. Go. After she left, Brielle approached. That was incredibly kind. Darius shrugged. Her kid's sick. What was I supposed to do? Most people would just call a taxi. Most people haven't been that terrified parent. When Elijah was 5, he had pneumonia. I was between jobs, no insurance. A nurse paid for his prescriptions, told me to pay it forward. So I do. Brielle felt something shift. You gave her your only car. I've got feet and a bus pass. I'll manage. He smiled at her shock. What? Thought security guards only care about themselves? I didn't think about security guards at all, Brielle admitted. Until you. I know. Most don't. No bitterness, just fact. We're background scenery. The help, invisible. That's awful. That's reality, but I don't need people to see me to know my worth. I know who I am. That's enough. His confidence was magnetic, Ashton constantly sought validation. Darius didn't need anyone's approval. He simply existed, comfortable in his own skin. Later that week, a drunk resident, Kyle from the 12th floor, got aggressive when Darius asked him to quiet down. "Don't tell me what to do, rent-a-cop," Kyle sneered, getting in his face. "I pay your salary." Darius stayed calm, hands visible, voice steady. "Sir, you're disturbing residents. Lower your voice or take this to your unit." "Or what?" Kyle shoved his shoulder. Brielle stepped forward, but Darius caught her eye, shook his head. "Don't. I won't make you do anything, but I will call police if you assault me again. Your choice." Something in his tone made Kyle back down. He stumbled to the elevator, muttering slurs. Afterward, Brielle approached, outraged. "Why didn't you do something? He pushed you." "What would that accomplish?" Darius asked calmly, logging the incident. "He's drunk, looking for a fight. I give him one. Suddenly I'm the threatening black man who attacked a white resident. My job's gone, maybe worse. That's how this works." Reality hit like ice water. "That's not fair." "Nope. But fair doesn't keep me employed or alive. You learn to pick battles when rules aren't written for you." Brielle watched him work, de-escalating conflicts, helping residents with patience, treating everyone with dignity regardless of how they treated him. Quiet strength, never demanding respect but commanding it through decency. "You're better than most people I know," she said quietly. Darius looked at her. "I'm just a person. Not better or worse. Just someone trying to do right. Revolutionary concept, apparently." Brielle made the mistake of mentioning Darius at Sunday brunch. "Just casual. The security guard at my building is actually really interesting." But Madison's fork stopped mid-air. "Interesting how?" "He's intelligent, kind. We've had good conversations." Brielle tried to sound casual, but Paxton laughed. "You're befriending the help now? Very progressive, Brie." "He's not the help. He's a person, a veteran, father of a 9-year-old. "Oh God, he told you about his kid." Sloane groaned. "Classic move. Next he'll need money. They always do." Anger flashed. "That's incredibly classist." "It's realistic," Madison corrected. "These people see wealthy women as opportunities. He's working you. Saw you drunk and thought jackpot." "You don't know anything about him." "We know he works security in a basement. We know you've been spending unusual time in parking garages." Sloane's voice turned serious. "Whatever this is, it's beneath you. The man works in a basement." The words revealed how little her friends knew her. "Is that what matters? Where someone works?" "Yes," all three said simultaneously. "What about character, integrity?" "Nice bonuses in people with appropriate social standing. You can't build a life with someone from a different world." "Why not?" Madison leaned forward. "Because you have responsibilities. Your company, reputation, family standing. Dating down doesn't just affect you. It affects us." "How could my personal life affect you?" "We're your circle. When people look at you, they see us. If you start slumming with security guards, people question your judgment. And ours." Brielle stared, really seeing them. When had they become so small? That evening, her mother called. Someone had told Patricia about the situation. "A security guard, Brielle." "Really? This is what happens when you overthink. You start romanticizing unsuitable men." "How is he unsuitable? You've never met him." "I know he works for your building. I know he's using his position. I know this reflects terribly on our family." "Mother, we're just having conversations." "That's how these things start. Your grandfather built this family's reputation through careful choices. Are you throwing it away for a man who opens doors for a living?" The cruelty took her breath. "He's an Army Ranger, a father, A good human. I'm sure he's lovely, but he's not for you. Patricia sighed. Ashton called. He's worried about you. Says you've been distant. Ashton barely notices when I'm present. Because he trusts you. Don't abuse that with some social experiment. After hanging up, Brielle felt suffocated by expectations she'd never questioned. Ashton arrived for dinner, kissed her cheek absently. Heard you've been spending time with staff? Sweet. Just don't get attached. They're trained to be friendly. It's their job. Darius isn't friendly because it's his job. He's friendly because he's good. Darius, you're on first-name basis with the security guard? Why wouldn't I be? Because it's unnecessary. These people don't need to be friends. They need to do their jobs. Said like explaining to a child. Something snapped. These people? Listen to yourself. What? I'm being practical. There are boundaries. You don't become buddies with service workers. It's awkward. Only if you don't see them as equals. Ashton laughed. Equals? The man watches cameras. We run companies. Not equal. He's actually kind to people who can't help him. That makes him better. The words hung there. Ashton's expression shifted. If you're that fascinated, maybe date him instead. Maybe I should, Brielle heard herself say. Silence. Ashton stared. Are you serious? I don't know, but I know I'm not happy. And 1 hour with Darius feels more real than 3 years with you. Ashton grabbed his coat. Call me when you're done with this crisis. He left without fighting. Brielle sat alone in her expensive apartment, surrounded by everything she'd worked for, feeling only relief. 2 nights later, Brielle found Darius outside on his break, eating takeout. November air was crisp, leaves skittering. She sat beside him without asking. You look like you've had a week, he observed, offering an egg roll. She took it. Ashton and I broke up. Or I broke up with him. Not sure which. The words came easily. My friends think I'm having a breakdown. My mother's threatening to cut me off, which is hilarious since I make my own money. Everyone thinks I've lost my mind. Have you? He asked calmly. Probably. She laughed, but it sounded broken. I keep wondering if they're right, if I'm romanticizing you because you're different, if this is just rebellion. Is it? Eyes steady, waiting. I don't think so. But how do I know? She faced him. Tell me honestly. What do you see when you look at me? He thought carefully. I see someone waking up. Someone who built a life based on what she thought she should want, just now realizing she never asked what she actually wants. What do you think I want? I think you want to matter, not because of money or company or name, just because of who you are. I think you want someone to see you, and I think you're scared because maybe I do. Tears slid down her cheeks. What if everyone's right? What if we're too different? We are different, Darius said plainly. I grew up in South Seattle. Single mom, 3 jobs. I joined the Army because it was the only way to afford college. I've been pulled over 19 times for driving while black. My son will learn how to interact with police because it might save his life. He met her eyes. Your world and mine don't naturally overlap. Facts. So this is impossible? I didn't say that. I said we're different. Different isn't impossible, just complicated. I don't care about complicated, Brielle said fiercely. I care about how I feel with you. Like I can breathe. Like I'm not performing. Like I'm just me. Who is you, Brielle? He asked softly. I need to know. Are you the woman who stumbled drunk looking for validation? The one who argued with racist friends? The one eating Chinese with the security guard? Which is real? All of them, she whispered. I'm all of those. The privileged one who didn't see bias. The one trying to do better. The one terrified of screwing up. Good. Darius said, surprising her. Perfect people are boring. I don't want perfect. I want real. Someone willing to look at privilege and unlearn harmful patterns. I want to do that work. Help me understand. He took a breath. This isn't a cute lesson. This is my life. When Elijah visits, I have conversations with him your kids won't need. I teach him he's beautiful and worthy, while preparing him for a world that treats him as threatening. That's my reality. That's horrifying. That's America. And if you're with me, really with me, you don't get to ignore it. You don't get to be a tourist. You have to stand in it, even when uncomfortable, even when your friends judge, even when it costs something. I want to stand with you. Even if your mother stops speaking, friends abandon you, investors question your judgment? Yes. Why would you give up your comfortable life for me? She took his hand. Because that comfortable life was killing me. Because you make me want to be better. Because with you, I feel like the person I always wanted to be but was too scared to become. He squeezed her hand. This won't be easy. People will have opinions. I know. Your world will push back hard. Let them. I'm done living for others' comfort. I'm choosing you, Darius, if you'll have me. He studied her, then smiled, truly smiled. I'd be honored. Just promise something? Anything. Promise you'll tell me when this gets hard, when you miss your old life or resent what choosing me cost. Don't hide it. I promise, and you be patient when I mess up, because I will. Deal. He pulled her closer, kissed her. It felt like coming home and jumping off a cliff. Terrifying. Exhilarating. Real. The breaking point came at Montgomery Medical's annual investor gala. Brielle invited Darius as her date, knowing it would cause waves but underestimating the tsunami. The moment they walked into the Fairmont Olympic Ballroom, conversations stopped. Darius wore a borrowed suit, pressed and proper, but it didn't matter. In a room of old money and older prejudices, he was immediately marked as other. Brielle felt him tense, felt hundreds of eyes judging. We can leave, she whispered. No, Darius said quietly. You wanted to stand with me. This is what that looks like. Her mother materialized. Brielle, a word, now. Mother, this is Darius Webb. Darius, my mother, Patricia. Patricia didn't acknowledge him. The kitchen, 5 minutes. She swept away. Darius squeezed her hand. Go, I'll be fine. I'm not leaving you. Go talk to your mother. I've dealt with worse than disapproving white ladies. His smile was strained. I'll grab drinks. Brielle found her mother in a hallway, face red with fury. What are you doing? Bringing that man here? His name is Darius. He's my partner. Partner? Patricia's laugh was sharp. You can't be serious. He's a security guard. Your father is rolling in his grave. Dad would have liked Darius. He valued integrity over pedigree. Don't invoke your father to justify this insanity. Patricia grabbed her arm. Board members are here, investors, people are talking. This reflects on the foundation, our family. I don't care, Brielle said, pulling free. I care about being with someone who sees me as human instead of a networking opportunity. That man is using you. No, Ashton used me, as arm candy, as a connection. Darius just wants me. Years of compliance broke apart. I'm sorry that threatens you, but I'm not changing my mind. She turned to leave, but Patricia played her final card. Choose him, and you're off the foundation board. No family connections. You'll be on your own. Good, Brielle said. I should have been on my own years ago. She found Darius near the bar, surrounded by board members asking condescending questions. Security work must be interesting, one man said, tone dripping disdain. It pays bills, lets me spend time with my son, can't complain. And you met Brielle through the building. How serendipitous. The word was weaponized. Must feel like quite a step up. Brielle arrived, rage igniting. Actually, Richard, meeting Darius was a step up for me. He's taught me more about decency in 2 months than 30 years at country clubs. Richard's smile was patronizing. Young love is always so passionate. This isn't about youth, it's about respect, something you're unfamiliar with. She took Darius's hand. We're leaving. But the program hasn't started. I don't care. I'm done performing for people who measure worth by bank accounts. She looked around. You're all so terrified of anything disrupting your worldview you've forgotten how to be human. I won't be part of that. They walked out, leaving whispers and scandal. Outside, November air was sharp and clean. That was quite an exit, Darius said. It needed to happen. Brielle felt lighter than in years. I just burned every bridge. You okay with that? She thought honestly. Yeah. Those bridges led to places that made me miserable. Time to build new ones. Darius kissed her forehead. For what it's worth, I'm proud. That took guts. I'm terrified. My mother will make good on threats. Friends already stopped calling. No idea what happens next. What happens next is we figure it out together, Darius said simply. That's how this works. She leaned into him, watching expensive cars deliver more guests. Her old life, continuing without her. And she didn't want it back. The backlash was swift and brutal. By Monday, Brielle had 20 emails from concerned board members, 50 texts from friends with advice, and calls from investors wanting to discuss her judgment. She ignored them all and showed up at Darius's apartment in South Seattle with coffee and bagels. This is where you live? She asked, taking in the modest 2-bedroom above a corner store. Clean but worn, furniture mismatched, walls thin, enough to hear neighbors next door. Not fancy enough? Darius asked, tone teasing. It's perfect, Brielle said genuinely. Photos of Elijah everywhere, drawings on the fridge, a life actually lived rather than curated. It's real. They ate breakfast on his second-hand couch, and Brielle told him everything. The threats, the emails, the dismantling of her former life. You can still go back, Darius said seriously. Apologize. Say I manipulated you, whatever they need. Your world has short memory for scandals if you play victim right. Is that what you want? Hell no. But I need to know you won't resent me when this gets harder. Because it will. This was just the warning shot. Then we'll handle it together. She took his hand. I made my choice. I'm standing by it. Okay then. Darius pulled out his laptop. If we're doing this right, you said you wanted to understand my world? Time to get educated. He showed her documentaries about systemic racism, articles about housing discrimination, studies on healthcare disparities. They talked for hours about things she'd never considered. Redlining, the school-to-prison pipeline, the racial wealth gap. Not theoretical concepts, but Darius's lived reality. When I bought this place, the bank made me jump through twice as many hoops as white buyers. Higher interest rate, bigger down payment. My credit score was better than my white army buddies. Didn't matter. That's illegal. It's subtle enough to be legal. That's how systemic racism works. Not burning crosses. It's interest rates and zip codes and algorithms that somehow always disadvantage the same people. He wasn't angry, just factual. This is what you're signing up for. Being with me means seeing stuff you could ignore before. I don't want to ignore it, Brielle said fiercely. Tell me what I can do. How can I help? You're doing it. Listening. Learning. Not expecting me to educate you while managing your guilt. Darius smiled. But if you really want to help, use your privilege for something besides networking. You've got resources, connections, platform. Do something with them. That sparked an idea. By Wednesday, Brielle had drafted a proposal. Montgomery Medical would launch a program mentoring young entrepreneurs from underserved communities, providing seed funding and connections without gatekeeping. She pitched it to her board Friday. The resistance was immediate. "This isn't our lane. We're a medical company, not a charity." "It's good business. Diverse founders create more innovative solutions. We're leaving money on the table, ignoring entire communities." After 2 hours of debate, they approved a pilot program. Small victory, but real. Brielle called Darius immediately. "They said yes. 10 mentees, $40,000 each in seed funding." "Brielle, that's amazing." Darius's pride came through. "See? You're already making difference." "We're making a difference. This was your idea." "Our influence," he said warmly. "I like that sound. Hello, the Shade of Love family. So happy you're here. Before we jump into the next part of the story, tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments. Also, how's the story been so far? We love reading your thoughts. Yes, every single comment. And it really keeps us motivated. Let's aim for 50 comments on this video. Think we can hit it? Your support means the world, so don't forget to comment, share, and keep the energy flowing. The final confrontation came at Montgomery Medical's quarterly investor meeting. Brielle had spent weeks preparing her presentation on the mentorship program, complete with data showing diverse companies outperformed homogeneous ones by 43%. She was ready for skepticism. She wasn't ready for open hostility. "This social justice crusade is affecting your judgment," Gerald Hutchins announced midway through her pitch. He was 65, wealthy from inherited money, hadn't had an original thought in decades. "We invested in a profitable company, not a charity for your guilty conscience." "It's not charity. It's smart business. We're expanding market reach, discovering untapped talent." "You're letting your personal situation cloud your business sense," another investor interrupted. Victoria Brennan. Old money. Older prejudices. "Ever since you started dating that security guard, his name is Darius Webb," Brielle said firmly, steel in her voice, "and my relationship has nothing to do with sound business strategy." "Doesn't it?" Gerald leaned forward, smug. "You've been distracted, absent from networking events, making impulsive decisions. This program giving access to people with no connections, it's reckless. We're concerned about your judgment." The room murmured agreement. Brielle felt rage building, but forced herself to breathe. This was the moment Darius warned her about, when her worlds collided, and she'd have to choose. "You want to talk about reckless?" Brielle's voice was steady, but edged with steel. "I built this company from nothing. I made every one of you wealthy beyond measure. And you're questioning my judgment because I'm dating someone you consider beneath me?" "We're questioning your priorities," Victoria said coldly. "You've changed. You're not the focused entrepreneur we invested in." "You're right. I have changed, fundamentally." Brielle stood, facing them all. "I used to think success meant impressing people like you, maintaining appearances, playing by rules that kept certain people in and others out. I was wrong." "Brielle, sit down," Gerald started. "No, I'm done." She felt the power of finally telling her truth. "Darius isn't a distraction. He's the best thing that's happened to me. He's shown me what actual integrity looks like, what it means to help people without expecting returns, what real strength is." "This is inappropriate," someone protested. "What's inappropriate is you, judging someone you've never met, dismissing him because he works security instead of venture capital. What's inappropriate is measuring human worth by bank accounts and memberships." Brielle grabbed her materials. "I'm implementing this program with or without your support, and if you can't see the value in expanding opportunity, then maybe you're not the investors Montgomery Medical needs." The room exploded into shouting, threats, demands. Brielle walked out anyway, heart hammering but head high. Her phone rang immediately. "Darius, she answered breathlessly. I just walked out of my own board meeting. How do you feel? He asked calmly. Terrified, exhilarated, possibly unemployed. She laughed shakily. They're going to try to remove me as CEO. Can they? Technically, yes, if enough investors vote against me. Brielle leaned against the building, legs weak. I might lose everything I built. Not everything, Darius said gently. You've still got yourself, your integrity, and me, if you want. I always want you. Tears slid down her cheeks, but she was smiling. I just walked away from millions for a principal. That's insane. That's growth, Darius corrected. 6 months ago, you wouldn't have done that. He was right. 6 months ago, she'd have apologized, smoothed things over, protected her position. Now, she'd rather lose everything than compromise her values. By evening, consequences became clear. 7 investors pulled funding. Her board called an emergency meeting to discuss her removal. Tech blogs ran stories. Montgomery Medical CEO's controversial romance threatens company. Brielle called an impromptu press conference outside her offices. I want to address speculation about my personal life and professional judgment, she began, voice steady. I'm in a relationship with Darius Webb, a U.S. Army Ranger veteran and single father. Our relationship has been characterized as inappropriate, a distraction, evidence of poor judgment. I'm here to say clearly, the only poor judgment is from people who think someone's worth is determined by their job title. She let that sink in. Darius has taught me more about integrity, compassion, and real leadership than any business school ever did. He's made me a better person and a better CEO. If investors can't see that value, they're welcome to leave. But I won't apologize for loving someone who makes me better. Questions came rapid fire, aggressive. She answered honestly. Yes, they were serious. Yes, she understood the optics. No, she wouldn't end the relationship to appease investors. When it was over, she checked her phone. Darius had texted, "Watching you stand up for us. Proudest I've ever been." And underneath the fear about her company's future, underneath worry about financial fallout, Brielle felt something she'd never truly felt. Proud of herself. Not for success or wealth, for courage. For finally becoming the person she'd always wanted to be. 3 months later, Brielle sat in the Montgomery medical office that was somehow still hers. The board had tried to remove her, but her majority shares and founder's contract protected her position. Half the investors left. New ones, younger, more progressive, filled those spots. The mentorship program was thriving, with 3 mentees already securing additional funding. Her mother still wasn't speaking to her. Most old friends had drifted away. But new people had entered her life. Darius's friends, her mentees, people who valued substance over status. Her world was smaller now, but infinitely richer. Darius knocked on her office door, carrying coffee and that smile that still made her heart skip. Got a minute? For you? Always. She gestured him in. He'd quit the security job 5 weeks ago, enrolled in business school online while working construction during the day, building something new, just like her. Elijah's visiting next week for Thanksgiving, he said, settling into the chair. He wants to officially meet you, as my girlfriend, not just the nice lady from my building. Brielle felt nervous excitement. What if he doesn't like me? He'll love you. You share his obsession with space exploration. Darius grinned. Fair warning, he's going to ask if you're going to marry me. 9-year-olds have no filter. What should I tell him? Brielle asked, half joking. Darius's expression turned serious. Tell him the truth, that we're taking it one day at a time, building something real. No rush, no pressure, just 2 people figuring out how to blend their lives. That's remarkably mature. I've had practice with tough questions. He reached across the desk, took her hand. But between us, I'm planning on keeping you around for a long time, if you'll have me. Even though I'm a reformed, spoiled rich girl with control issues. Especially because of that. You're doing the work, unlearning bad patterns, challenging assumptions, using privilege to help people. His thumb traced circles on her palm. You're becoming who you were meant to be. It's beautiful to watch. Brielle felt tears prick her eyes. I lost a lot for this. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice. Do you? Really? Darius asked gently. Because from where I'm sitting, you gained everything that matters. Integrity, real relationships, purpose beyond profit. That drunk woman who stumbled into my garage 6 months ago, she was lost. But the woman here now, she knows exactly who she is. He was right. Brielle thought about that night, champagne-soaked, desperate for something she couldn't name, throwing herself at who she thought was Ashton because some part of her was screaming for connection, for realness, for someone to see her. I was looking for you that night, she said quietly. I didn't know it, but I was. Looking for someone who wouldn't perform with me, who'd tell me truth even when uncomfortable, who'd challenge me to be better. And I was just trying to get through my shift, Darius joked, then turned serious. But yeah, I think we found each other when we both needed it. You needed to wake up. I needed to remember not everyone in your world is empty. Thank you, Brielle said, for being patient, for seeing potential when I couldn't, for not giving up when I was figuring things out. Thank you for doing the work, for not expecting me to fix you or complete you, but for fixing yourself. That's rare. They sat in comfortable silence, hands linked. Outside, Seattle hummed with afternoon traffic. Inside, Brielle felt peace. Not artificial calm, but real peace from knowing she was living authentically. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nicole inviting her to their daughter's recital. Another from Dorothy asking if she wanted to help with Sunday dinner. Messages from mentees updating progress. A reminder about therapy. Something she'd started after the gala, working through years of internalized classism. This was her life now. Messier than before. More complicated. Infinitely more meaningful. You know what's funny? Brielle said, looking at Darius. I spent my whole life building a perfect existence. Right schools, right job, right boyfriend, right friends, all carefully controlled. And it was making me miserable. And now? Now nothing's controlled. Half my investors hate me. My mother won't take calls. I'm dating someone my old friends think is beneath me. I'm spending resources on people with no connections. She smiled. And I've never been happier. That's because you're finally living your values instead of someone else's expectations, Darius said. It's terrifying but liberating. Will you remind me when I'm scared? Because I'm still scared often. Every single day, Darius promised, and you'll remind me when I feel like I don't belong. Deal? Deal. Brielle stood, walked around the desk, kissed him softly. I love you, Darius Webb. Thank you for not letting me forget. I love you too, Brielle Montgomery. Thank you for remembering who you really are. They left the office together, walking into the Seattle afternoon. Brielle's future was uncertain. Her company might fail, her reputation might never recover, the people she'd alienated might never forgive her. But walking beside Darius, hand in his, she felt something she'd never felt in her carefully controlled former life. Genuine joy. Not performance, not obligation. Just the simple, complicated, beautiful reality of being fully herself with someone who loved her for it. That drunk confession in a parking garage 6 months ago had been the best mistake of her life. She'd meant those words for Ashton, but said them to Darius. And in the chaos that followed, she'd discovered something profound. Sometimes you find your truth, in the wrong place at the right time. She'd confessed love to the wrong man and found exactly what she'd been looking for all along. The end.